Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So this morning I did something that I shouldn't do, which is I was scrolling through Reddit because I was procrastinating getting up since I had to go to work, which is not what you should be doing, but admittedly it was Saturday morning and I kind of didn't want to go to work. And this is a weird one because it showed up on the front page in spite of the fact that it had low upvotes. And I was very curious why something with so low upvotes showed up on the front page. But since it did show up on the front page, I thought I would read through it so that I had something to rage at because I don't know how to read through this without raging. So you tell me what you think. This is from r/2x chromosomes. It says, why do men have to ask us out on dates every time we have friendly interactions with them? As a woman, I'm sick of this. I'm not even that attractive, yet I keep seeing things happening to me and other women. Every time I had thought about making a friend or had an interesting conversation with a man, it turned out with them wanting to date or a potential girlfriend. I was at the gym wearing a Zelda shirt. A guy comments on that and we had a nice conversation about the last Zelda games, as apparently he's also a fan of the series. I thought, nice. I met someone nice at the gym who has no ulterior motives. Then when I was heading out, he talks to me and he asks for my number and a date. Now I'm forced to change my gym hours to avoid him because I dared to be a woman in a public space. I was at a college waiting for a class. A guy approaches me, and we end up talking about the professor. We apparently both dislike him, but I love the subject he teaches. Then just before the class starts, he asks for my number and a date. Now I have to feel uncomfortable because I dared to accept a nice conversation with a man. I was out and about at the mall, and a guy approaches me commenting on my shoes. I thought yet another guy hitting on random women. Then I noticed we wore the same niche brand of shoes. We had a nice conversation about the brand, and then when the conversation died, he asked for my number and a date. All because we had a nice conversation. Just yesterday, I went to a hobby meetup with a friend. There weren't too many people. When the meetup ended, the two guys I talked to the most asked me on a date because I dared to... I really should be going to work, but I don't know. It's Saturday morning. Anyway, just yesterday, I went to a hobby meetup with a friend. There weren't too many people. When the meetup ended, the two guys I talked to the most asked me on a date only because I dared to make a friendly conversation with them and share a hobby. Now the safe space has become uncomfortable to me and only because I dared to be a woman. The list goes on, and I'm sick of this. I just want to exist as a woman without a desperate man thinking that every interaction has to lead to a date or romantic relationship. Why can't men see women as friends/people rather than just potential dates, girlfriends, or sexual partners? Note to the male lurkers. Stop seeing women only as potential girlfriends or sexual partners. Learn to appreciate women as friends and platonic acquaintances. Not everything has to turn romantic. Life is not a rom-com. If despite all of this you want to ask a particular woman out, make sure she's interested romantically first, not just platonically. Women would be extremely grateful if you did this one small thing before making a move, and I can't read the rest of it because it literally just it rots your brain. So I guess where do we even begin with something like this? So firstly, this begins with her saying that she had a nice conversation with somebody. Not his definition of the conversation. Her definition of the conversation is that it was a nice and pleasant conversation. And then he's asked her on a date, and she wants to change her gym hours so that she doesn't have to see him. Because like saying, oh no, I'm not interested in that, but thank you, is not enough. You literally can't go to the, you can't be at the gym at the same time as him. That's not healthy. We're not talking about a guy that walked up to you and said, hey girl, you're hot, and just stared at you for 10 minutes. I'm not saying that the right way to deal with that would be to not go to the gym when that person's at the gym, but I can kind of understand what you're getting at. We're talking about somebody who had a, by their definition, nice and pleasant conversation. And because he asked that and she said no, she now has to modify her schedule so she never sees him again. Because that's healthy. Definitely no unresolved problems there that might require therapy rather than blaming all men. At the next one, you have a conversation about the professor and he asked you for a date at college. Another one, a guy talks about your shoe and you had a nice conversation about the brand. And again, you had a nice conversation, not a bad conversation. Again, this is not a man running up and saying, hey girl, you're cute. This is somebody having a nice conversation about a mutual interest and then asking you out. Above all, at the end, when it says make sure that she's interested romantically first before you do something like this, how would that work? By the way, are you just interested in friendship, or would you be interested in more than friendship? Because if you would be interested in more than friendship, then I'd like permission to ask you to dinner. Or, hey, this is a lovely conversation. If you'd like to speak more, I'd love to take you to dinner. And you hand a card with your number. Which one is more or less creepy? I don't believe there is a world where the former would result in this not being a front-paging r/2x chromosomes post, but the latter is. Because if a man did the former, which is, by the way, are you only interested in friendship, or would you maybe be interested in more? That's the same thing. It's just a much creepier way of saying the exact same thing, which is that I'm interested in you. I don't think, again, to be clear, I've never tried that before. And maybe if I did try that, my apartment would just be filled with beautiful women rather than 3 cats. But in all seriousness, I don't see a world where that would actually work. And the idea that you are desperate for actually asking a woman out, I think the problem here may actually be one of low self-confidence. If a man is desperate to be asking you out, if every man that asks you out is desperate, then what does this say about you? That is actually a piece of negative self-talk that I don't even think that this person is noticing. And honestly, it's very difficult for me to tell if these things are shitposts or not. But when you scroll down, the people in the comments also appear to believe that there's a chance this is real. Now, I'm very proud of r/2x chromosomes for this, because I usually read posts like this in r/2x chromosomes and want to just blow my brains out. But this one in particular, the top upvoted comment says, I'm probably going to be downvoted to shit for this. But especially with the first example you mentioned, it doesn't sound like he was being disrespectful. Unless I'm missing something, he clocked 2 things you had in common, had a friendly conversation with you, so it's not impossible from his eyes that you would seem like a nice person to ask on a date. What separates the boys from the men is how they react when you reject them. To be clear, I'm very happy that in this sub, at least for this period of time, reason prevailed to the point where that's the top of voted post. But the person who wrote it said, I'm probably going to get downvoted to shit for this, which means that there are people that read this that genuinely believe that that is a controversial opinion. They believe that's the wrong thing to think, as denoted by the way they started their post, which is absolutely and utterly insane to me. And again, the more that you dig into this type of stuff, the more that you read r/2x chromosomes or a Kevin Samuels comment section, the more you get into this, the more you realize that there is just so much vibrating resentment between the genders. It seems so insanely unhealthy. And the part where it says, nice, I met someone nice at the gym who has no ulterior motives. Well, there is no ulterior motive. He made his motive clear after a 10-minute conversation with you. Now, an ulterior motive, in my opinion, would be somebody that gets to know you platonically as a friend for 3 months or 6 months or 2 years or 4 years, and then springs on you in the 5th year, after you're married, after you have children. Jasmine, I've had a crush on you since I met you at the gym and talked about Zelda that day. Like, honestly, in your heart of hearts, which would you rather have happen? Would you rather have a pleasant conversation for 10 minutes where you both laugh and you enjoy your shared interests, and the guy says, hey, by the way, if you're not busy Tuesday night, I got an extra ticket to the symphony orchestra. Would you like to come see the Shostakovich concert? Or would you prefer, after 2 or 3 years of platonic friendship, the guy saying, we've been friends for such a long time, and I really get along with you so well, Jasmine, that I was kind of thinking maybe we could start dating? Like, again, which one is worse? I personally think that the former has far less ulterior motives than the latter. Speaking of ulterior motives, I think somebody here wants a greenie. You ready for breakfast, Blackberry? You ready for breakfast, girl? You want some breakfast? Blackberry, I'm doing a video. Blackberry. Blackberry. Blackberry, what are you doing? Blackberry, what are you doing, girl? Really? You're just going to walk on me while I'm doing the video. Anyway, I double down on what I said before, which is I genuinely do believe that there is this like little tuning fork that's just like resonating and getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse with resentment between the genders. I read more posts like this every single day. Again, read r/2x chromosomes or a Kevin Samuels comment section, and you will start to see that type of just aggravation and resentment between the genders is starting to not be something that's just on the internet or in comment sections. It's stuff that I'm slowly starting to see seep into real life conversation in particularly scary ways. And I'm not exactly happy or excited to see where the next 10, 20, or 50 years of relationships between the sexes go. Again, thankfully, in this particular case, the top voted post on here is one of rationality and sanity. But if you scroll far enough down, yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to get into the comments because I won't be able to get to work today. That's it for today. And as always, hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. If Blackberry lets me. Why are you biting my wrist? Yeah, just walk all over me again. Like I'm not doing a video. And just, bite me. Wow. Blackberry the cat, ladies and gentlemen. Blackberry the cat.